The lineage dossiers. Prince William puts a hold on Archie's standing as Harry's DNA evidence ignites a royal firestorm. He's your kid, but is he one of us? Right at 9:07 in the morning. On the 12th of February 2026, Buckingham Palace dropped a statement that sent ripples across the UK and shocked royal followers globally. The release, stiff, but unmistakably sharp, verified that Prince William had formally declined to sign off on the private genetic report, handed over by Prince Harry. A file intended to demonstrate that Archie Harrison Mountbatten-Windsor is genetically Harry's boy and thus qualified to get back on the royal family roster. But this wasn't just some standard act of brotherly doubt. It was a full-on institutional firewall stating that no kid, not even one, claiming royal blood would get a pass back into the succession lineup without hardcore forensic vetting handled by the Crown. Basically, William wants a redo, and not just from some lab, but from the palace's own intel network. So now the royal house is battling itself once more. The stakes, nothing short of the validity of two royal kids, the standing of two princes, and the fate of the family's continuous lineage. It kicked off, at least in the open, when Prince Harry's lawyers sent a thick folder to Clarence House late last week. The packet was supposedly 72 pages deep, featuring a DNA screen from a California facility verifying Harry is the father, plus a sworn declaration from Meghan breaking down her pregnancy schedule from 2018 to 2019, ultrasound scans from a private OB/GYN in Beverly Hills, a copy of Archie's birth record, and a certified note from a staffer at a Portland medical center. The goal was obvious: get Archie and Lilibet back in as official royals after being gone for years and pave the way for their return to the family tree and its perks, especially since Harry has hinted he wants to come back to the UK after his public split from Meghan. However, Prince William's comeback wasn't just tough, it was clinically precise. Sources inside the palace say William instantly brought back the Sovereign Succession Security Council, SSSC, a barely used advisory board of legal intel, and archive pros tasked with checking bloodline purity when things get messy. In hours, William's team put a total hold on Archie's integration, pointing to major oddities and open inconsistencies. Palace staffers have since leaked the exact reason for William's pushback, a 6-point internal note, now dubbed the Bloodline Files. These are the warning signs William and his crew claim were never cleared up. Various photos of Meghan during the pregnancy seem to display totally different bump sizes on the very same day. Royal investigators verified the time data. The palace's digital forensics squad swears angles and outfits can't explain the shifts, fueling old rumors that a prosthetic moon bump might have been in play. Unlike the deliveries for William and Catherine's kids, there isn't any signed proof from the royal Doctors Sir Marcus Setchell or Dr. Guy Thorpe Beeston covering Meghan's labor. No hospital exit paperwork was ever submitted to the royal vaults. Archie's birth certificate got tweaked almost a month after it dropped swapping Rachel Meghan Markle for Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex, while Meghan's team insisted the palace ordered it. William called the edit bizarre and shady, pointing out Catherine's legal moniker stayed exactly the same on all three of her kids' papers. That first shot of Archie at Windsor Castle has been under the microscope for ages. Lighting pros verified the pic was snapped with pro grade. Gear and palace staff called the setup more magazine cover than candid moment. The photo op was barred to regular news photogs. In May 2019, a $500,000 transfer was tracked from Archewell LLC to a fertility center near the border with Mexico, a spot famous for surrogacy gigs and total silence. The money moved 5 days prior to Meghan's official birth announcement. Insiders say this clinic is all about full-service private pregnancy packages. Maybe the most damaging part, a secret audit by ex-MI6 codebreakers now working for the palace security unit found that the Archewell payment had encrypted memos hinting at a hush-hush deal between the clinic and a third party. They flagged these notes as signs of a hidden surrogacy contract. William, usually known for staying cool but firm, supposedly told his staff, "I'm not rejecting my brother. I'm building a firewall to save the monarchy's constitutional rep." Behind closed doors, though, the tension is thick. A contact near the Privy Council let slip that William has put the brakes on Harry's kids getting back on the royal books until a monarchy-approved DNA audit is carried out right there in the United Kingdom. At the same time, Harry is blasting his brother for using red tape as a weapon to stall what he swears is a rightful claim. Meghan has kept her lips sealed in public, but her legal team is dropping hints that international human rights statutes might be used if the Crown keeps blocking the children's recognition. As the tension heats up, insiders at the palace worry. This fight could spark a total exposure of every record and ruling tied to the Sussexes' exit in 2020, covering cash flows, media deals, and internal notes that have never seen the light of day. On the heels of Prince William's shocking denial of the genetic paperwork provided by Prince Harry, attention creates a shift across the pond to a California facility, an Oregon attorney, and a sketchily deleted email that could blow up the Sussexes' whole argument. Right in the middle of this mess is Horizon Gene Diagnostics, a small-time private testing outfit out of Santa Barbara, located less than 30 minutes from the couple's RDS Montecito mansion. Harry's lawyers claim this is where a genetic test happened in the middle of January 2026, determined with a probability higher than 99.999% that Harry is really the biological dad of Archie Harrison Mountbatten-Windsor. But William's camp immediately poked holes in how it was done. Royal. The officials point out the vials were dropped off personally by a biased source, allegedly Meghan's ex-chief of staff, skipping any secure or tamper-evident custody chain, making it messier. Horizon Gene doesn't have accreditation from the UK's Royal College of Pathologists, nor does it meet ISO 17025, the global benchmark for forensic labs managing legal proof. Insiders at the Sovereign Succession Security Council SSSC claim the whole stunt looked rigged to get a specific outcome rather than find facts. Managing. The submission was attorney Douglas Hall, a lawyer out of Oregon who focuses on parental rights in cross-border family disputes. According to files seen by the Telegraph, Hall didn't just order the lab work. He also lodged a formal request with the UK Privy Council for Harry, asking them to give royal security back to Archie and Lilibet based on those paternity findings. But Hall's role is now under the microscope, thanks to a leaked internal memo from his firm dated January 22nd, 2026, which the Times got their hands on. The subject line read, "We need optics, not science." The full text said, "If Horizon Gene won't rush results by the 26th, find a partner lab ready to sign off on." Pre-analysis validity. It doesn't need to be bulletproof. It just has to look solid. We need optics, not science. The palace will only see the paperwork. Hall has not denied the email is real. In a fuzzy press release, he argued the text was twisted out of context while prepping a procedural filing, but a new timeline from William's office is throwing gas on the fire. According to banking surveillance, data, and shipping logs, the DNA specimen flew from Los Angeles to London on January 24th, but an identical sample was also mailed to a second facility in Zurich, one that never got paid and never ran. The test. Palace sleuths suggest this points to a baked-in backup plan, implying the Sussex crew expected the UK authorities might say no and tried to set up alternate paper trails. Even worse, the Zurich lab's internal logs listed the sample for practice use only. No official custody chain was set up there either. As a high-ranking Home Office official whispered, "This doesn't read like a paternity proof. It reads like the season finale of a Netflix drama. The visuals are definitely bad." A Hollywood-linked lab lawyers from abroad and a calculated release syncing up with a gentle press push-by. Pro-Sussex media outlets. All this happened while the palace stayed quiet but started mobilizing behind the scenes. Now that silence is breaking. If Horizon Gene cast the first shadow, MI6 pulled the blackout shades down. While the palace fights over Prince Harry's disputed genetic evidence, the bloodline files have taken a grimmer, more volatile turn. According to contacts near the Sovereign Succession Security Council, SSSC, a secret intel report written by ex-MI6 spies and locked under the code name File Sigma has been brought back online. The header reads, Lineage Continuity Disruption, Sussex Asset Irregularities, 2019 to 2023. And right in the middle of this bombshell file is a payout, a medical clinic, and a riddle that might totally redefine what the Crown considers legitimate. On May 1, 2019, 5 days before the palace publicly, just as the news broke about Archie arriving, Archie Well LLC pushed through a bank transfer totaling $499,900. The cash landed at a low-profile fertility clinic just outside Tijuana, Mexico, infamous among the elite for offering top-tier surrogacy management, specifically catering to ultra-wealthy global figures demanding ironclad confidentiality deals. This specific facility, which is still unnamed in documents, runs on a regulatory framework that bypasses public filing for surrogates and frequently handles offshore deliveries utilizing unidentified biological contributors and bespoke reproductive plans. Interestingly, the press didn't find this. It was dug up by a crew of ex-intelligence crypto experts currently employed by the palace's so-called custodian unit. They followed the money trail from a backup Archwell LLC account, washing through two dummy corporations in Delaware and the Caymans, finally hitting a blind Mexican ledger tied to a parent firm, listed as Forscana Biomed S.A. Why did red flags go up? Because this wasn't for a standard doctor's visit, claimed an insider. It was payment for a comprehensive carrier agreement finalized just 5 days prior to the official announcement of Archie. Both fans and skeptics have argued for years about the 2019 moon bump hypothesis, a massive internet rumor suggesting Meghan Markle sported a fake stomach for her high-profile outings. Back then, major news outlets brushed it off as hateful, bigoted trolling. However, behind closed doors, digital analysis never stopped. Today, with intelligence-grade experts reviewing historical footage, fresh evidence has come to light. 3 specific shots of Meghan from March 5, 2019 capture her at separate London events, one at King's College, the other at a panel discussion. In the first image, her stomach looks large, tight, and sits low. Yet in the second, taken only hours apart, her waistline seems significantly reduced and positioned higher, with visible folds under her jacket that imply synthetic fabric, buckling. An internal digital simulation ordered by the firm and subjected to 3-dimensional depth scans determined. No biological gestation could shift that much in volume and shape within a 6-hour window. Combine that with the account of an ex-aide who, on condition of anonymity, revealed the nursery setup at Frogmore was weirdly untouched. No prep for a birth, no baby gear, not even feeding equipment. The whole thing seemed like a set. This intel has triggered emergency summits involving Prince William, Princess Anne, and the King's top legal experts. Under royal statutes, any kid expecting a spot in the official lineage requires proven DNA ties to a living royal, a delivery certified by the Crown's physicians, and a seamless chain of paperwork verified by court officials. Right now, none of those criteria seem to cover Archie or Lilibet, at least not without dispute. However, this is about more than signatures on paper. It's not a question of raising kids, noted historian Dr. Miles Grayson. It concerns the integrity of the institution's legal and symbolic foundation. If the succession line gets muddy even by accident, it could nullify hundreds of years of tradition. Late last night, Prince Harry's legal team in London released a sharp rebuttal. Prince William is using suspicion as a weapon to stall rights for his brother's children. We aren't running a kingdom based on lab results. This is a family unit. Archie and Lilibet are our flesh and blood, and they are Windsors. But privately, William's camp argues this. Reaction is just emotional distraction. A source near the Queen Consort reportedly noted, Harry demands the perks of the title without the vetting that goes with it. We don't operate on feelings here. We operate on proof. On the night of February 11, 2026, a velvet folder stamped Lineage 1A Urgent was couriered from the palace to the Royal Register's office. It contained an official order signed by Prince William, representing the Crown Succession Security Council, mandating an immediate freeze on the two-presented Royal Household Register. The document paused all updates, entries, or certifications concerning Archie and Lilibet's standing until a comprehensive lineage audit is finished. Practically speaking, this puts the children in administrative exile. This has evolved past a domestic argument over DNA. It is a constitutional deadlock that risks revealing years of hidden palace procedures and tearing open old wounds that the institution tried to mask with pomp, quiet, and official paintings. Ever since Queen Victoria's era, the family register has functioned as a locked archive where the identities, ranks, and verified standing of every Windsor heir are logged. But never in modern history has a file been blocked after entry. Until today, insiders briefed on the internal lockdown protocols say Prince William has triggered Clause 6 of the Sovereign Child Declaration Act, a dusty but valid statute from 1837 that lets the heir freeze any royal lineage claims if things get murky, disruptive, or legally questionable. It is essentially the nuclear option for bloodline management, noted former royal archivist Edward Lonsdale, and nobody has used it in over a century. This means that even though Prince Harry is trying to muscle his kids back into the royal mix, using DNA paperwork, all titles, inheritance rights, and ceremonial perks remain on ice. The move wasn't just for show. It was a hard delete. The profiles for Archie and Lilibet were scrubbed from the active system, and the IT department set up digital tripwires to flag any future edits. But while William is pulling the legal levers, a voice from the past has re-entered the chat. King Charles, 3. Two high-level palace sources confirm that a secret memo written by Charles in December 2025, just weeks before, his health check has been cracked open at William's direction. The text is still classified, but we know it exists, and we know the subject line regarding the Sussex children and the trust threshold. Here is what we know for sure. The note was locked under Level 4 security at Marlborough House. It was penned right after. Charles got a private briefing from Princess Anne about some gaps in Archie's timeline. It lays out a game plan if more forensic red flags pop up. Those in the know suggest the memo might give the green light to block hereditary rights for any kid not born under verified. Witnessed conditions. Charles was torn, said an aide close to the file. As a grandfather, he felt the love. As a king, he felt the heat, but in the end, he let William make the call. On February 12th, at 8 in the morning, Meghan Markle's lawyers fired back in the UK High Court, accusing Prince William and the Privy Council of staging a hostile takeover masked as a lineage check. In the filing, Meghan's attorneys claim the kids are dual citizens of the UK and the US, protected by international family laws, and that the Royal Household Register isn't a government agency, meaning it has no legal standing to decide who is legitimate. They argue that scrubbing Archie and Lilibet's names is basically institutional erasure. The court docs included birthday snapshots of Archie in Montecito and a sworn affidavit from Tyler Perry stating Meghan carried and raised both children herself, despite the crazy public harassment. Still, the palace hasn't said a word about the lawsuit. The silence is calculated. The family split is now total. Princess Anne, reportedly, backs William's hardline approach and wants an independent medical panel involved. Prince Edward is apparently squirming over how ugly this is getting, but agrees the monarchy can't be caught, flat-footed again. Queen Camilla is keeping her head down publicly but was heard behind closed doors, remarking, "The institution has to be bigger than the drama." As for Harry, sources say he is furious and crushed feeling, backstabbed not just by his brother but by the whole system he used to represent. A palace insider called a recent phone. Chat between William and Harry brief, harsh, and freezing cold. A blocked list, a secret note, and a brotherhood in ruins. Now, with legal options running out and family bonds, snapping the mess facing the British royals has turned into something way riskier than a fight over documents. It is a battle for the soul of the throne itself. Right in the center of this firestorm is William's unprecedented move to suspend all titles and money tied to Harry's kids pending a green light from a brand new ethics board, the Royal Commission for Lineal Ethics and Continuity, or ARLEC. As of February 12, 2026, that board isn't just an idea anymore. It is live. With the royal books closed and the kid's status up in the air, William sent a formal notice to the College of Arms putting a stop to any official use of prince or princess for Archie and Lilibet. The notice, while not a full, legal cancellation under letters patent, is effectively a ban, a directive, telling court officials, palace, staff, military attaches, and event planners to stop using royal styles for the Sussex kids in any official setting, until the bloodline is proven to the Crown's satisfaction, the statement says. The titles are on hold. Status of prince or princess is off the table to protect the institution's reputation. Sources claim this wasn't a princess. Snap. Judgment, but a necessary move, considering the worldwide questions about the kid's biology and the potential for future claims to the throne. But bigger than titles is the dark cloud hanging over. Princess Diana's remaining fortune, which her updated 1996 will splits evenly between her sons and, eventually, their lawful heirs. However, with the legitimacy of the kids currently on hold, doubts are rising about whether they can access their cut of the Diana Trust. The fund is valued at over $22 million. Insiders verify that. Prince William has discreetly spoken with the money managers, suggesting the portion meant for the Sussex children be frozen in an escrow account until the ARLEC gives a final verdict. This play would effectively sever immediate cash flow, which hits hard since Harry supposedly leans on this trust to float his family after the RQL brand tanked. Privately, Harry calls this a stab in the back to both him and his mother. Diana would never have allowed obsession over bloodlines to trump her love for the grandkids. Harry allegedly told a pal she valued hearts over official documents. Still, palace aides insist that protecting Diana's memory means handling this strictly. This isn't about feelings, noted Lord Pembroke, informal legal advisor to the council. It comes down to financial duty. Until their status is proven, the trustees have to be careful. Formed by royal charter in 1975 but never used publicly before the Royal Commission for Lineal Ethics and Continuity, or ARLEC, has been cited during previous scandals but mostly worked in the shadows. Now, for the first time, anyone can remember its 7-member board is meeting officially. The group features 2 high-ranking peers from the House of Lords Ethics Panel, a retired judge from the Privy Council, the head royal archivist and Oxford constitutional expert, the lawyer for the Archbishop of Canterbury, and a former spy whose name is classified. Their job is to figure out if the ancestry of Archie and Lilibet satisfies the basic legal, ethical, and ceremonial rules needed to keep or regain their place in the royal family. This goes beyond genetics, noted royal historian Fiona Travers. It concerns integrity, custom, and preserving the monarchy during an era of deepfakes and edits. Informants claim the commission demanded every version of the birth certificates Meghan Markle's travel records. From the year before the births, security logs from Frogmore Cottage and blacked-out files of Arkowell, bank wires. If the panel decides the kids' arrivals didn't follow the rules, Mandated by succession statutes, the consequences will be earth-shattering. The children would be scrubbed from the official list forever. Any claim to titles, even courtesy ones, would vanish legally. Future diplomatic trips, roles in jubilees or ceremonial events would be barred. Their inheritance from Diana's trust could be voided or redirected. Even worse, Prince Harry might lose his H.R.H. status, as some commissioners see his behavior as possibly faking lineage to gain royal perks. The crown has weathered affairs, banishment, and kings stepping down, said Travers. But faking the royal bloodline would spark a historic crisis of massive proportions. Surveys published the night of February 12th indicate 62% of Brits backed the Five investigation. 47% think titles should stay on hold, though 41% feel for Harry, viewing William's move and Sepini cold-hearted red tape. Online tags like hashtag Archie Truth Files and hashtag Diana would have loved them are going viral worldwide. But so is hashtag Crown or Chaos. The clock is ticking. The institution is on the precipice of its most intimate constitutional ruling in 100 years. Behind the wrought iron gates and inside the propers, secure servers of the Royal Commission for Lineal Ethics and Continuity, the verdict is being locked in. The core issue: do Archie and Lilibet rightfully belong to the House of Windsor? As of February 13th, 2026, the dossier created after a 6-day deep dive into Birth Docs International, money trails, and secret witness accounts is now under the eyes of just 3 people: Prince William, Princess Anne, and the Lord Chancellor. Although the ruling stays classified by royal custom, the emotional, legal, and political shockwaves are already being felt. Meghan Markle, who has stayed noticeably quiet during most of the inquiry, is allegedly getting ready to drop a taped interview within hours of the announcement. Her legal team hints that her statement will be blunt, intimate, targeting both the monarchy and the masses. The sit-down, taped at her Montecito home 2 nights back, is set to feature a fiery justification of her parenting specifics on her time expecting and the deliveries, and her claim that this probe stems from sexism, social prejudice, and systemic exclusion. I carried my babies. I delivered them. And now they are being wiped out. Meghan reportedly states on tape, "This isn't about ancestry. It is about dominance and fear and authority." The project is being managed by a standalone United States platform, skipping Netflix and Spotify, slated for direct release on YouTube, Instagram, and various global networks. Palace insiders are stealing themselves. Prince William, for his part, is crafting his own comeback, one significantly less sentimental but equally momentous. A prepared statement dubbed "Regarding Lineage" and "Constitutional Stability" is reportedly done and set to drop within 24 hours of the board's ruling. King Charles theoretically signed off on the speech prior to his latest medical leave. The Arlec verdict covers the permanent listing of Archie and Lilibet, the Crown's stance on future rank and inheritance rights for heirs born outside proven royal environments. Associates of William describe his mood as steel-spined and unwavering. At one juncture, he allegedly remarks, "This ruling wasn't born of spite. It was born of obligation. I'd sooner shoulder the weight of public anger than gamble with the decay of royal facts." His circle claims he has accepted the fallout, including effectively losing Harry. Increasing the intrigue is one last curveball. A restricted flight log leaked by Heathrow Customs shows a private plane set to touch down on the morning of February 14th, 2026. The passengers, one adult male listed as Henry Mountbatten-Windsor plus 2 minors as dependents, taking off from Van Nuys Airport, California, via a quiet charter service frequented by top-tier royals. No Meghan, no bodyguards, no media circus. Palace staff haven't verified the log, but sources hint that Prince Harry might be flying back to Britain solo with Archie and Lilibet. If accurate, that is a massive move, noted. Royal reporter Olivia Hart. It could be Harry's Hail Mary to prove the kids belong not just by genetics, but by physical proximity. Still others are doubtful. It might be a decoy warned a palace contact. This clan plays chess, not checkers. Outside Buckingham Palace news crews are already camping out. A fresh tsunami of banners is hitting Europe. Children in limbo. Royal verdict looming. The Times headlines. The Prince and the DNA archives. Lily's lost heritage. Der Spiegel writes, Markle versus monarchy. Who owns the blood views? Are totally split. Some see Meghan as a contemporary mom steamrolled by archaic customs. Others view William as the essential guardian of the institution. And plenty now see Harry as the sad middleman ripped apart by love duty and history. If the Arlec sides with Archie and Lilibet, the kids get restored to the royal register, cleared to use prince and princess titles placed back in the line of succession, and cleared to get payouts from Diana's trust. If the ruling goes against them, the kids are officially and permanently stripped of royal standing. All legal and ritual claims get voided. Any move to use titles in the press or public would spark a lawsuit. Prince Harry could face punishment for fraud. A final rule in the Arlec bylaws lets the King or the Prince of Wales in his place block or ratify the decision. But every signal suggests William won't step in. He plans to honor whatever judgment comes down and make it stick. This is more than a royal drama. It is a worldwide lesson in heritage, authority, self, and reality. 2 brothers, 2 kids, 1 family tree. 1 issue that will shape the monarchy for decades. Does being born make you royal, or does the crown have to sign off on you first? Tomorrow, we get the